The 4 levels of happiness. Parenting Dare, and this is appropriate for parents and kids ages 11 to 14. And actually, this is appropriate for basically any kid. I love the 4 levels of happiness. So, what brings you joy? I mean, true, deep, lasting happiness. In this course, we've been discussing pornography and how porn, even though it looks like one thing, a relationship, it is actually the exact opposite of that. It separates people from each other. It separates the body and soul. Pornography is actually a trap. We've talked about that. And it brings deep loneliness and isolation. So porn does not bring happiness. So what does? When you think about your life, what makes you deeply happy? Today I'm going to give you a gift. There are actually 4 levels of happiness, and once you understand them, they will actually help you understand life and why so many people are unhappy and how you can live a happier, more fulfilled life. These are the basic levels, and we'll go over each one. Immediate gratification, ego gratification, giving of self, and then the highest level of happiness is unity with God. So first up, immediate gratification. This is anything that you can bring into your body or into your life, such as great food. This is anything that you want to buy, like makeup or jeans or great Converse shoes. This is Netflix or video games, and of course, my favorite, iced coffee. All these things bring a sense of joy and happiness. The problem with this, how long does that happiness last? I mean, have you ever wanted something, like really, really wanted something, and then you got it and like 5 seconds later you wanted the next thing? Or have you ever opened up a Christmas gift, maybe when you were 8 or 9 and you really wanted something, and then like a week later you didn't even want to play with that toy? Material things, even though they're fun and beautiful and amazing, just they can't bring us lasting happiness, and they're not supposed to. Next up, ego gratification. Now, your ego is how you feel about yourself. It's how you see yourself. It's your, basically your identity. So who are you? Are you a musician? Are you a straight A student? Are you a good basketball player? A soccer player? A good friend? Do you put out funny tweets? Do you love connecting with others through social media? Who are you? Our identity, or who we are in this world, is important, and it brings happiness. But it can also bring misery. Why? Well, let's just look at the student. If you're known for straight A's, what happens when you get a C on a test? If you're a basketball player, that makes you happy, it brings you joy. What about when you lose a big game, or you pull a hamstring, or you don't make it to the next level, like, next college level? If that was your sense of happiness, what then? And if you tweet something that gets retweeted a couple hundred times and that yes, that brings such joy, but does it last? There's like a weird pressure to perform the next day, right? That happiness actually fades. And the kind of sad statistic is 70% of Americans live here in this level of ego. Somehow we've bought the idea that what we do is who we are. Adults think their happiness is in their job. And I just, think about a realtor. A realtor sells houses. Well, if that's true, then they're only really happy when they've sold a house, right? And that happiness, it kind of keeps moving on them. Now, there's 2 more levels, and if you can understand these 2 upper levels of happiness, you will be like the most amazing teenager, because you will know the secret to real happiness. But before I get there, I'm going to give you a quote that really changed your life. This is from Saint Pope John Paul II. Man cannot fully find himself except through a gift of himself. Now, Man means all humanity, girls, boys, men, and women. And I live like most people in the first two levels of happiness. I was happy when I ate a fabulous meal. I liked when someone recognized what I did. Yet, I wasn't all that happy overall. Then I read this quote and I started studying something called the theology of the body. I now realize, gosh, what my real purpose was. It's to give to others, to love. And that is your calling too. And let's look at that. Giving of self. So have you ever worked with the elderly or sat with an older grandparent or great-grandparent and just cared for them? Have you ever worked in your yard helping your parents? Have you ever babysat a child? Cared for somebody? How did that make you feel? This is so cool. Something happens within our souls when we give to others. And you were born to make a difference in the world. Now, before we get to the fourth level of happiness, I want to share with you a way that you can create more third level happiness, more giving of self. So yes, it's important to do service, but I also want to encourage you to give yourself emotionally. Now, when I was, in my early 20s, my husband and I moved to St. Louis. We lived in this great apartment, and I just remember reading this one book that absolutely changed my life. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I literally remember exactly where I was when I read this book because it just changed my thinking of people. And it helped me live a deeper sense of happiness. And I will just tell you, it's almost like there's a secret. This is what Dale Carnegie taught me. People don't really care about others. They just care about themselves. They care about their life. They care about their agenda. The vast majority of people live in the first and second levels of happiness. I mean, just know that. If someone goes to, let's say, a school dance and everybody goes, everybody is concerned about what they are wearing. They're not really concerned about what you are wearing. They're concerned about their outfit. And at school, they're concerned about their test. In games, they're concerned about their goals and that they made the shot. Just kind of know that. And if you want to be a real giver and you want to live in this third level happiness of giving self to others, then ask others how they were doing and just listen. When you see someone sad, ask them what's going on. Listen. And when you see your teacher or friend or anyone do anything for another person, just acknowledge it. And when you play well in sports, make it about the team, not yourself. And give compliments. Like someone goes, "Oh my gosh, you did such a great job." And like, "Oh, your whole team, you make me look good. You guys are fantastic." So it's just a little gift on how to give happiness to other people by acknowledging them. Now let's look at the highest level of happiness. Unity with God. I love this so much. You have a soul. It is the you of you, the part of you that will absolutely never die. Your soul was created by God, and He wants you to be with Him for all eternity. He delights in you and He wants you happy. Being in relationship with God gives the deepest, most lasting happiness. I really want you to get this. That gives us the most happiness because we are eternal beings. We will only be happy in God. But there's more. Right now, you are seen. You are loved. And He has given you your gifts and your talents and your desires to be used for the service of other people. So He wants you to spend time with Him so He can direct you in those things. So how do you do that? Well, the Word of God is alive and it transforms us. But if you've never really used the Bible, how do you do that? My daughter Rachel started with Googling Bible quotes or using Pinterest for Bible quotes. Then she'd look them up in the Bible and underline them in her Bible, and she'd meditate, and then she'd write it out. And she calls it finding the sandwich. So she would find a quote, And then she would get the bun, which is like the words of, surrounding that quote. And she would just kind of get the bigger meaning of that Bible quote. And so that's how she started using the Bible instead of just opening up and like trying to figure out how to use it. And I just tell you, just spend time in the Word and get quiet. Our world is noisy. To hear God, you gotta get quiet. You were made by the perfect, for the perfect. The lower levels of happiness can be good, but they don't offer the deep peace that's found in God. So I encourage you to invite God in. He's not going to demand entrance. That's not what he does. He's going to wait for you. It's not difficult. Just make the time every day and ask him to lead you. You, exactly as you are needed in this world. So many people are stuck in lower levels of happiness, thinking that a cute pair of jeans will create their joy. And that's just not true.
So we did a lot of talking about how you are made by the eternal, for the eternal. But it's really hard to understand eternity, how vast, how big that is. So I have another video, and that is by little brother Matthew, and he calls it his blade of grass. That's how he describes eternity.